you. Cool. Thank you so much. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and get started here, guys. I'm going to share my screen. We got the old trusty slides here. So today, we are talking about the trust crisis, particularly for knowledge workers, and exactly what's going on with the impact of some of the things that are creating an environment of distrust, particularly with customer relationships and how we can build better customer relationships and build trust with potential customers in an environment where trust is really critical. So start with a few things here that really just jumped out at me. The more I dug into this, the more I was just shocked by how much stress is being put on customers and consumers. So in 2024, Americans lost $12.5 billion to fraud, a 25% increase from the previous year, according to the FTC. So I'm sure this looks pretty familiar to everybody. You just know not to click that link. You know there's nothing good on the other side of that link. And yet there's a big trustworthy FedEx, a brand that we, for the most part trust, in there trying to deceive us. And what does that do? It's just made us really skeptical of how people are trying to take advantage of us in just common outreach and in marketing and sales communication. Another thing that's really difficult and creates even more lack of trust in the information that we're being given. Everything that you see now, you almost have a little fact check radar going on, where as soon as you see some new news that came out or some information, you already just start to understand what the intention behind it is. What is the angle? What is the thing that we're trying to be persuaded to believe? And this is coming at us from everywhere. So it makes it really, really difficult to decipher who has our best interest in mind, who's being genuine, and who's deceiving us. How about this one? You guys go try and get a good deal on maybe some electronics product or something for your home, and you run into a product with 5,000 five-star reviews, and it's the cheapest product. And you just know these aren't real reviews. These aren't real customer experiences. And it just becomes really, really difficult. These are systems that are put in place to help us make good decisions, and they're being manipulated and affecting how we're able to take in information and make decisions. Another one that just now there's AI comments everywhere you go, boosting the credibility of posts on platforms like LinkedIn. Makes it really difficult to know what's real and what's not. How about this one? I know everybody's email inbox is full of these. Hey, first name, quick question. And we're just getting bombarded by sales communication left and right. My inbox is filled with these. Another quick little fact here. So my background's in marketing. I'll talk about that a little bit, but average landing page conversion rate in 2025 sits around 6%. In 2020, it was approximately 10%. Why is that? Why are people more, there's probably a lot of factors here, but why are people more hesitant and less likely to convert on a landing page? Is it just because there's a higher volume that's skewing the numbers here? That could be a factor. But I think it has a lot to do with this trust crisis, the trust recession that we're in. All these different things that are happening at all times to us that's really making us skeptical. Quick background on me. My name's Karl Kinder. I've been in marketing for the past 12 years. I've worked with brands like McDonald's. I've worked with Nationwide Insurance to launch digital products in their innovation division. I've ran a lot of social media ads for businesses like fitness franchises and small businesses, and building sales and customer acquisition funnels for small businesses. I led marketing at a consulting firm here in Atlanta. I don't know if anybody here is from Atlanta, but And I've also ran the marketing program for e-commerce, and all these different customer journeys all have a lot in common, though, in terms of how people respond to marketing communication and to sales communication. And over 12 years, which has flown by, I've seen a lot of change in how people respond to communication that's being put out from brands. And it's made me really interested in this topic and how things are shifting, how trends are impacting our ability to trust each other and to trust brands. So I just want to talk a little bit more about that today. How we got here, the erosion of trust. Do a little background here, a little timeline of how trust has been eroded, particularly from a marketing standpoint, but it's created a big impact on just in general how we view opportunities and view relationships. So going back to the 1900s, when people really started marketing products, and consumers were deceived really badly with things like miracle cures and advertising that led to mass public skepticism when they realized that these cheap products weren't actually going to solve all their problems and cure their ailments. We started that little bit of we started putting the barrier up a little bit, and then came along mass advertising. So brands start using more manipulative tactics and advertising to reach a broader audience, and start, again, painting a picture of, the ideal life that you can have if you just use our product. Corporations in the tobacco industry start misleading customers. And all of this creates, again, just more skepticism. So consumers are more skeptical of brands. We get into the 1980s, 1990s, and I don't know if anybody remembers this Columbia House. I remember I signed up for the, 10 CDs a month for 1 cent or whatever, and then they start billing you. And I remember my parents got really, really angry with me. They had to contact Columbia House and cancel that subscription. So, brands continue to just take advantage of consumers. Here they are selling a CD subscription to, a 10-year-old. And we start to see celebrities endorsing products. We start to see the rise of junk mail, credit cards, these mail order scams. And this just continues to build up this wall and this barrier of why we really need to be careful of how much we trust the information that we're being presented. Then we get into the 2000s. The internet makes it much easier to target specific populations and to really personalize communication to consumers. So in the 2000s, you have banner ads, pop-ups, clickbait, and something really interesting happens here. Have you guys ever heard of the term banner blindness? Banner blindness is a psychological phenomenon where your brain has just completely blocked out. It doesn't even register advertising that shows up in the margins of websites. Partly because we know it's not, really helping us with the information that we're there to collect, but also just because we know it doesn't have our best interests in mind. So we just completely block it out. It's been proven that consumers don't even see those ads, don't register them at all. People start manipulating search engine rankings. That's interesting. Search engines were created to give us, quality information. And as soon as brands figured out that they could manipulate the rankings and start showing up higher by, keyword stuffing and using black hat tactics, it made it more difficult for us to get the information that we want. And instead, we're just being fed more marketing and sales messaging that's leading us down a path towards really just trying to maximize profits, not give us, the actual best experience. And then jump ahead to now. And marketing experiences are very, very catered to the individual now. We place pixels on websites to follow you around and remind you that we have a great offer for you. We manipulate the trust that we've built by, bombarding you with social proof. and really trying to maximize the value of the offers that we're providing to squeeze out a little bit of sales from you so that we can get you into the next stage where we try and upsell you into the next higher tier product. And this is all, again, just created this environment where we're very skeptical. And now we're in completely new territory with AI and deepfake technology. The lines are completely blurred. We don't know what's real and what's fake. And we're just at an all-time high level of distrust. And people are increasingly aware of this. I think we're at a heightened level of awareness that just makes it really difficult for I think, just brands to stand out, but in particular for brands that are built on trust, that are built on relationships. It makes it really, really difficult to stand out. Just one more quick thing here. 2025, this is where we're at now. The top 10 cybersecurity predictions for McAfee are deepfakes, rogue apps, scammers, NFC scams, fake invoices like the FedEx texts, prescription drug scams. So, just all these things that we've never had to deal with before. And it just makes things exhausting, honestly. And that's where we're at. Consumers are just exhausted from overloaded with sales messaging, all the manipulative tactics and misinformation. So today I really want to focus the conversation though around knowledge workers, people who make a living essentially off of sharing their expertise and providing their thinking to their clients and to their partners beyond just a product or even a simple service. These services are really reliant on building trust. So this is a critical topic right now. Why does this matter so much? Well, for consumers, the top 3 considerations for purchases start with good value for money, the best quality, and then number 3 on the list is trust, which may seem obvious, but it helps to just really be forthright with that and understand how critical it is to be able to build trust, and then to look at how difficult it is to build trust and starting to work out, okay, how do we overcome this challenge then? Trust also explains 78% of the variance in consumers' willingness to pay a premium for a product. So, in particular, when your services rely on your expertise, and you're not really in the type of business that just wants to compete on price, you should be able to charge a fair price. And trust explains a big part of how customers justify premium purchase decisions like that. According to Edelman, they release the Trust Barometer every year. And this may seem obvious as well. 59% of consumers say when they trust a brand, they're more likely to purchase. Sure. But just emphasizes the importance again. And then particularly for advisory services, consultants, loyalty and advocacy, referrals, and the length of the relationship with clients are so critical. And building trust is so important for that. So what are the risks of ignoring this environment of lowered trust, of more skepticism? 1, damage to credibility. Marketing and sales tactics that appear inauthentic or overly salesy can do significant damage. So maybe tactics that worked even 5 years ago could actually be causing potential damage to your brand and sending people away to your competitors. Opportunity cost of lost clients. Potential clients may exit your funnel early if competitors earn trust more effectively. So something to be aware of. If your competitors are doing a better job of intentionally creating trust, then even if you get somebody who's interested in your services, they may discover your competitor and choose to go that direction. So have to be really, really aware of the competitive environment and how you're competing on these trust signals. Overshadowed by competitors. So in a very hyper competitive world, particularly right now, I think there's been a large spike in the number of businesses started and entrepreneurs launching their consulting businesses. Yeah, ever since COVID, that number's gone up, I believe 60% since 2019, the number of businesses started. It's very easy to just blend in and be overshadowed and become invisible and forgotten. So using this information can help you stand out and can help you really carve out a place so that that doesn't happen. What's the opportunity in a trust crisis? Stand apart and above competitors, like we just talked about. So we can show verifiable proof. We can share behind the scenes methodology, invite real dialogue. These things help elevate our level of trust much more effectively than maybe competitors who are lacking in these areas and who are still relying on their sort of outdated tactics. We can forge deeper, longer lasting relationships with clients. We can earn trust with clients that turn into loyalty and increase the lifetime value of all these relationships that we're building. And we can maximize referrals. Happy clients who see transparency and authenticity are more likely to refer colleagues. So having an intentional strategy for trust creates a lot of opportunity for some of the most important aspects of business. So where are we right now? Consumers are very skeptical. They're bombarded with things like too good to be true offers, manipulative sales messaging, and they've been burned before. A lot of them have. So very skeptical. They want proof of claims. Any hint of dishonesty can close the door forever. And authenticity is more important than production value. So, having high quality marketing presence and brand presence can boost the perception of trust for sure, but authenticity is what really matters. And that's what really makes you stand out in this environment. So let's talk a little bit about trust building strategies. What can we do if we know that this is true? How can we set ourselves apart and gain an advantage in this environment? Trust building objectives. So what do we need to do to be successful? We need to stand out in highly competitive environments. We need to build trust rapidly. So not just a little bit of trust here, a little bit there. We need to do it really, really effectively. We need to create awareness of our credibility, create human-to-human connections, back to the topic of authenticity, nurture relationships, and maximize our client value is really the end goal here, right? So these are our objectives. One thing that I came across in doing some more research on this topic was this concept of the 5 C's of trust-based selling by Jack Hubbard. And this jumped out at me. So I wanted to start with this. These are really sort of interesting core philosophies that help build trust, particularly in a relationship-based selling environment. So curiosity, be more interested than interesting. Conversations, classified as the ultimate differentiator. If we can get in conversations with leads, prospects, we set ourselves apart instantly. Collaboration, working on solutions together, not just providing recommendations, but working together to build out solutions that are personalized and customized. The 5th one, invite feedback and iteration. So customizing and coaching, be helpful and transparent. These really stood out to me as concepts that can be used throughout any sort of strategy and tactics that you're using to help build trust. Strategies to enhance trust. So these are just a few things that I think really maybe go against some of the common beliefs that are out there. So a lot of the consulting firms that I work with often want to keep a lot of their best information in-house. They're afraid to sort of lead with their best stuff, to lead with their processes. They kind of usually keep that for until we get into a sales conversation, and then we'll share some of that. I've heard, we're afraid our competitors will use it. I'm here to tell you that leading with your best stuff is one of the most effective ways that you can stand out. So you really want to have that at the forefront of the conversations that you're starting. And it can just really, really enhance how quickly you're building trust with your audiences. So lead with your best stuff. showcase your expertise in various formats. So oftentimes, we put it on our website and we call it a day. We really need to be repurposing the specific areas of expertise that we have to share in various formats. We're going to talk a little bit more about that. Ungating your thought leadership and case studies goes back to leading with your best stuff. Don't keep that stuff behind, a sales gate, essentially. Radical transparency, openly show and teach your processes and methodology, and humanize your brand with more interactions. Q&As, authenticity, live engagement in particular is something that I want to talk a little bit more about. So trust signals. We can leverage trust signals to help give clues and cues to prospects that we're trustworthy. Some common ones are demonstrated results. So we're talking about case studies, of course, success stories, using data to really underscore our claims. So for specific outcome-based claims, using data to back that up. Testimonials and reviews, logos of clients, even better if they're recognizable, certifications and accreditations, thought and leadership content, upfront clarity and transparency, and also just being really consistent with our efforts and with our communication builds trust. When people see that we're consistently talking about a specific area of expertise, it sends signals that that you're a trustworthy person on those topics. So just being consistent, and then responsiveness. If you get some in an interaction with potential clients or with existing clients, really immediate responsiveness goes a long way for this as well. So here I want to share a few examples. So this is actually, interestingly, a event that one of my partners is hosting at this exact moment, today, March 13th, that we've been promoting. And they created this series called How to Sell a Business. It's M&A 101, 201, 301, and 401. How to structure an M&A transaction that minimize taxes and keep more profit. And this has been very, very successful for them. So they promote this live event, and the people that show up for it are looking for education. And it's not a selling transactional event for them. It's just educational. So they get their ideal prospects to show up for these events. They provide education on the topic, and it builds trust so quickly that people follow up with them and say, hey, I have this problem. Can you help me with it after these events? And I think that's the goal, is how do you just as quickly as possible become the trusted advisor for people that need your help? And there's ways to do that and stand out and do it really quickly. So imagine consistently attracting qualified clients who are excited about access to your expertise. You don't have to become a famous thought leader to do that. Just focus on becoming the recognized authority for individual prospects by hosting live sessions where you're and sharing more educational content. Topics don't have to be groundbreaking. Your authority is your differentiator. So by sharing your high-level expertise, you start building a brand that says that you can help your clients, not just that you can provide a service, but that you think more deeply about the problems that they're experiencing, and you're able to really show up and customize and personalize how you're able to help them. And this repositions you from a vendor to a trusted partner. And there's another example of a different event that we ran for a consulting firm, where we invited other business leaders to come have a discussion on a topic. In this case, it was the build by partner decision regarding product development. So this is just another way to, one of the things I kind of wanted to demonstrate here was it doesn't, take a whole lot of effort or production value to put on these events. If it's a topic that you're comfortable with, you're confident in, you can just show up and talk about it confidently, and that trust will be transferred to your audience. So it's really just about, finding a topic that's interesting to people that are interested in the same things as you, and then you can just show up and just share your thoughts and expertise. It makes it really, really easy. There's another example of another event here. So in this case, again, not a very high level topic. It's very direct. Learn how to drive more revenue. So this is about cash flow management. So they're running this event just to teach small business owners um, how to better manage their cash flow from an accounting standpoint, from a bookkeeping standpoint. So it doesn't have to be a mind-blowing or groundbreaking topic. You can talk about things like how you've gotten results in the past, in-depth discussions for common issues and processes to overcome common challenges. Makes it really easy, right? And now we're building trust very, very rapidly. And this format of face-to-face virtual interactions, kind of like what we're doing right now, just think about how before you had no idea who I was, and now, you have a little familiarity, and, we're starting sort of like building a relationship a little bit. And this can happen just immediately through one or two events. So this is where I've found to be the fastest and easiest way to build trust at scale. All you really need is a clear topic, your genuine expertise, and a way to, kind of track your interactions with people so you can make sure you're following up, you're starting conversations. And then the key with this is just repeatability. So if you can do it once, you can just continue to invite more people to have the same conversation. You might even just get better and better at having that conversation. And just a few little tactical things here. We've had really good success using Facebook ads. You just use the lead ads where people, how you probably signed up for this webinar. You can just fill out the form right there in Facebook. You don't have to take them to a landing page. It doesn't require a complex setup. But it makes it pretty easy to start the conversation and start building relationships. So, once you get this process started, it's all about back to the 5 C's, building relationships with low pressure call to actions. So you can really start to get things moving with things like mini consultations where you're personalizing and customizing information for your prospects and building trust immediately. And this is the type of thing that you just can't get with AI right now. So this is how you're really able to stand out in the face of a lot of new adversity that's happening for small business owners in particular, where for knowledge workers, the topic of this discussion here is that you're up against all these things that are changing and making it difficult for you to build relationships and to build trust. But these types of things are how you can really stand out and do it in a way that is competitive versus all these competing attention grabbing things that people are chasing shiny objects right now. It's all about just being human and starting conversations and providing value. And then you become a problem solver, not just a seller. And just to round it out here, so great, once you get this going, it's all about keeping the conversation going. So once you've engaged with a potential client, build trust over time with consistent follow-up, nurturing, and in particular for longer sales cycles and B2B, it's a little complex. You got to stick with it. And then for existing clients, use these same tactics to keep building trust so they provide referrals and you extend the lifetime value of your client relationships. A great way to just kind of create awareness of your advisory services and upsell clients into things that they could benefit from that they're not aware of just right now. And just to round things out here, I'm going to send this out, just a little checklist of things to kind of keep in the back of your mind as you're going out and trying to build relationships. So just to run through these quickly, clarify your expertise, create an audit of everything that you have available in terms of trust signals. What are all the things and how can you elevate those so that they're more visible across your different properties, your website, your LinkedIn profile, all those good things. Collect data-backed results, so make sure that you are keeping a log of results. Maybe seems obvious, but you want to make sure that you have that. Highlight testimonials and case studies. Be radically transparent. So explain your methodology, openly share processes, put it on your website, host live sessions where you talk through it, share it on your social media. engage through education, shift from pitching to teaching, and host intimate live sessions to build trust rapidly. I'm telling you, it's a very, very effective strategy. Creating a collaborative environment to foster interaction and feedback, offer these low friction mini consultations to keep the conversation going, nurture your relationships, and don't stop building trust after the sale. Continue to deepen relationships to upsell into higher value services. I don't know how quickly I went through that, but that's the information that I have today. And I want to open it up for questions and see, is there any, let me see here. I'll stop sharing and see. I think I went through that pretty quickly. What questions do you have? What can we talk about a little bit further on this? Yeah, man, I love seeing you guys still here through that. I appreciate it. See a hand raise. What do you want to do? You want me to allow to talk, Jacques? Like you're muted. Did you have a question, Jacques, or is that just from earlier? Okay. Well, if there's no questions, then I just want to thank you guys for coming. I really appreciate it. I would love your feedback, so I'll shoot you an email after this. If you enjoyed this, would love to hear from you. Thank you, Claudia. Would love to continue the conversation. If anything here was particularly interesting for you, I'm going to send out this checklist. I'll send out the link to the slides. But that's all I have, guys. Thank you so much for coming. Have a great rest of the day.